Growing up for me wasn't always easy. My dad drank a lot, and he had a lot of anger built up in him. And there was a lot of arguing, in our household. I can remember a time when I was very young, sitting on the kitchen table and, crying because I didn't want my parents to get divorced and be, from a broken family. Another time, my mom had to pack us kids up and go to grandma's for the weekend because my dad was in a rage. So I just, as I was getting older, I just had a lot of anger built up in me, a lot of rage. And that lasted into my 40s. Just talk about my family a little bit. I got married in 1985. Our son was born in 1988 and our daughter was born in 1990. I had brought a lot of anger into the marriage. And my wife came from a family that never raised their voice. They never argued. And I came from a family that's complete opposite of that. And we struggled. We had hard times. And I'm not proud of who I became. And with my son, we butt heads a lot. And I'm so sorry for putting him through that. And I just, brought a lot of hurt into the marriage. Me and my wife, we grew up in the church. We grew up Catholic, but we didn't quite understand the relationship with Christ. We didn't know what that was about. We'd never heard of it before. And our kids, we brought our kids to church, and they just, they didn't like going to church. And so then about the late 90s, 1999 or so, we just quit going to church. And then 2001 came around and 9/11 happened. And that got us back into church. And we stuck with it. And my brother and his wife were coming to Christ Church, and that's where we ended up. My kids loved it here. I absolutely loved it here. And they dove in head first, and they joined youth group, and they went on mission trips. And their leaders were just phenomenal people, just great people. And they got so deep into their faith. And for my wife to see that, it just made us want to dig deeper into our faith. And we learned so much from them, and we learned a lot from the people in Christ Church. Pastor Tom, he would, get me to go on, different trips with the kids and that, to camp and that. And Pastor Sean came along, and he nudged me a bit, and we went on mission trips together. And he got me into doing youth group. I led high school youth group for quite a few years. And we grew in our faith. And my kids gave their life to Christ because of coming here. And that is the greatest thing a parent could ever see and ask for. With the grace of God, with us getting deeper into our faith and understanding, and me and my wife giving our lives to Christ, you could just see God healing our marriage and healing our family. And I just thank my family because they extended that grace to me too. For all the anger and the hurt that I had caused. And spring of 2009, my parents had just got back from Florida. And they'd been back for a week or two, and my dad was just angry. And I'd been over there a few times, and things weren't going well. And my mom called me back over, and I get there, and she had a bag packed, and she was ready to go. She wanted to go to my house and stay for a while. And my dad, he was angry. He wasn't going to let that happen. And he opens up his dresser drawer, and he realizes that the checkbook is gone and the savings account book is gone, and he's just furious. And the other thing is, you know, he kept his gun in his pistol in that drawer, and which kind of scared me. Never pulled it out or anything, but I knew that's where it was. And he was just in a rage, and I ended up calling 911. And the police came, and they let me and my mom leave. And then once we were out of there, they left, and my dad was there by himself. On the way to my house, we're probably about halfway home, and my dad calls, and I just let it go to voicemail. And I listened to the voicemail, and he just said, well, I'm on my way to Mercy Hospital to prove that I'm sane, and the rest of you guys are all crazy. And that didn't work out well for him, because he ended up, they admitted him to the mental health ward, and he was in there for six plus weeks. During those 6 weeks, we had to go to court a few times, because we realized after the first court date, they weren't going to let him out. And also during that 6 weeks, he left me hundreds of voicemails. 6 of them, he had said that he was going to kill me. And then multiple other ones said he was just going to chase me down and beat the hell out of me. With my dad, forgiveness came, but you got to understand where my dad came from. When he was 7, his dad left. And then when my dad was 9, he had a big chunk of his lung taken out. And he almost died, and his dad never came. He just didn't care. My grandma called him and let him know, and he just didn't care. He didn't come. And so then my dad was raised by his mom and his uncles, and his uncles, most of them were alcoholics, and they had a lot of issues themselves going on. There's a lot of history there, and I'm not going to get into it, but understanding where my dad came from, and to where he was at, as a father, and that it's like, it's amazing that he did what he did. He did his best. He tried, and he was a good man. But with the grace of God, my family forgave me. And God forgave us all. So with that, and knowing where my dad came from, I was able to forgive him. He just had struggles in life that I don't think he always knew how to deal with. And but he taught me a lot of stuff. He taught me how to build stuff. He taught me how to do electrical. He taught me how to do plumbing. And because of that is, it allowed me to go on the mission trips, and teach kids, and work with the kids. I love working with the kids, and just going through those struggles and watching my kids in their faith, and just watching how God came into our lives and turned our lives around. It is more important than That's just more important than anything else in the world.